Hello, my name is William Rowland. I am running for the Puyallup School Board, Position 1. So I've received some communication since I have filed to run as a candidate in regards to my views. What do I stand for? And who am I? So I thought it was very important that I start providing a face and a voice to who I am. Things are personal. Our kids are personal. But I want to talk a little bit about who I am and where have I been. I am a father of 4. I've been married to my current wife for 20 years this year. I have 2 kids out on their own. I have 2 kids still at home. I moved to the Puyallup area in the late 80s. My younger kids, of course, are in the Puyallup School District. My older kids were also in the Puyallup School District. I'm a veteran from the 80s, and I'm a business owner, and I care about my kids. And my thought is that you care about yours, probably just as much as I care about mine. I have fought for mine. I have stood up for them, and I have taught them right from wrong. And I've taught them how to logically, not emotionally, look at evidence, how to research. This is what I think is important for basic things for our kids. If we don't teach our kids how to think on their own, think independently, they can be led astray. I've watched the Puyallup School District for almost 30 years. I've seen how things have changed. Some are good, some are not. Right now we're in a very critical time here in Puyallup. We have the legislature branch in Olympia and the governor's office that has just signed into law critical race theory. I have a distant family member that is a teacher in Washington State that let me know earlier this week that they are required to attend an 8-hour critical race theory class. The question arose during this meeting that is it mandatory? And the answer was yes, it is. So do we just stop and say, okay, it just is the way it is? That's how some people would want it to be. I'm just not one of those people. I believe that we all need to stand together for the good of all. I am a business owner, as well as being a veteran. I've learned how to work under stressful environments. I've learned how to think quickly. I've learned how to research and find the truth. I call the truth things like it's proven through video, it's proven through multi sources that provide facts, documents, things of this nature. So I am not for the critical race theory teaching. Now, as a school board member, I would not be making laws. However, I can use the way that I fight for my kids to fight for yours. We have a constitution in this country that protects the rights of the citizens. And we really need to get down and start standing on that. Without going into a education video here, we have to understand what the 14th Amendment says. And I saw in passing, and I need to get the specifics on it, but there was also a court case, and I believe it was from the 1800s, that actually upheld that the Constitution is number one. The Puyallup School District policies have a layout of 11 topics that need to be taught. Civics being one of them. Math, science, reading. There is a large set of things that we are supposed to be teaching our children. And yet we're spending so much time on these other things. And the problem that I see with it is that we are being told what to think. I actually went through a critical race theory class myself. And I was shocked, to say the least, to hear that because I'm white, I'm racist. Now, racism exists. There are people out there in groups that are racist, and it's well known. However, we don't see people going after them. We don't see our lawmakers passing laws to stop them. Now, that's not for the school board, but it is what I see. So, we need to stop painting everything with a white paintbrush. And I think that's kind of on the lazy side, if you want to know the truth. Because it's so easy to say everybody is going to do this, or everybody is this way, than it is to go after the actual people that are the perpetrators. I believe that we need to hold people accountable for what they do to others. If they interfere with the rights of one person, that becomes a problem. Another thing that's been a hot topic that came into the legislation prior to COVID, it became known as the Advanced Sex Ed Bill. I believe it was House Bill 2288, if my memory is correct. Now, of course, with COVID and no sessions, it never was passed. But they haven't stopped. They're still pushing to teach kindergartners about sex. They want to teach our kids in public school things we would never want to teach our children at home. And the question comes to mind for me is very simple. How does this help our children? How does this get our children ahead? Some of the things I've heard and some of the things I've read are that, well, if you don't do this for them, then they will become very confused. It's a psychological, disturbance to them if you don't let them do what they are naturally going to do. But my thought goes back to decades ago when we didn't have this training. And while some argue the fact that we don't have the documentation from back then, I think that we all can come to the conclusion with the documentation we do have that it wasn't a big problem back then. So why is it a big problem now? I think it goes back to what I said earlier. We have to stop allowing our kids to be told what to think and instead teach them how to think, how to research, how to find truth, how to make decisions. These are basic things that our kids need to know. Of course, I have worked with that with my children. And I'm going to tell you a little story about my 10-year-old. She is on an IEP, has been ever since pre-K. Now, until COVID hit, when they closed down the schools, she still could not read, she still could not write or spell, and she could not do any math. Now, my wife and I had decided that since how the schools were closed and she was behind academically, that we would continue to work with her. So my wife did all kinds of things during the day with her. And the surprising thing that we walked away with is the evidence that what we were doing was successful. My wife and I are not teachers. We did not go to college to learn how to teach other people's children. But yet, in 6 months, my daughter was able to do single-digit math. She was able to read kindergarten and first grade books. She was able to spell many 3-letter words. So I started thinking about this. And I realized that when you have a personal connection, you can find a way to become successful. So in my daughter's experience, my wife and I have a personal position to make sure that she can be as successful as she can be. And with that, we were able to teach her. Now, our faculty, I think, do a great job. The problem that I see that could be causing this is the fact that we're spending so much time with our teachers on these other topics that do not help them teach children. And they don't have time to learn the child themselves. Now, we have reduced the class sizes over the last few decades in Puyallup due to levies. And that's been a good thing. I think that has helped us. But where that I'm struggling is we're not focused on really teaching our kids. We're not getting the success for our kids. So as a school board member, I will represent your family. I believe that the parents have rights over their children to pick the best path for them. I am for homeschoolers. As a matter of fact, my oldest is homeschooled, and starting next year, my wife and I were talking about this, and we are going to homeschool our younger daughter. We have to find a way to become successful for our children. And I think it starts with the school board. The school board should control the things that come into the school district in the best interest of our kids. And when I say the best interest, I am focused on academics. We need to focus on the academic success. We need to stop reducing the requirements to graduate. We need to find ways to work with kids. We need to have kids work with kids. We need to have parents work with kids. Our kids are our next generation. We need to prepare them to understand the history of things that have happened, so that way we don't fall down that path again. We need to make sure they understand our government and our government structure. That's part of school. It's part of education. We need to make sure they understand, I'm going to say, basic life experiences. Balancing a checkbook. Being able to cook. Be able to change the oil in their car. Be able to build something out of wood. Being able to weld. These are the extra things that will prepare our kids to success. It gives them experience in areas to where they realize if they like it or not. My grandfather told me when I was a young boy, find something you love to do and you'll never work a day in your life. That is so true. So as I get ready to close this video, I want to say I am here because of what I've experienced with my own kids. I am here to make sure that the school district is overseen by a school board that understands what a parent wants for their children. I want everyone to understand that we have to be focused on the future. We have to learn from the past, and we have to have a logical evaluation of anything that comes into our schools. I am running for Puyallup School Board, Position 1. I am open to communication. Of course, there's a lot of households in the Puyallup School District. I cannot meet with every single person individually. So I'm going to continue to do these videos. I know some people don't like to get into a face-to-face conversation. There's others that do. I want to try to be available for every single person and meet their needs. Because I have to understand what your position is, what you have experienced. And then I can look at how has that affected even other kids? Because our focus is to build a process of education in our public schools to be successful across the board. Have equal opportunities for people to get an education. If people choose not to get an education, while I don't agree with that, we live in a free country. We have to focus on helping the people that want help. We need to support our faculty. We need to protect our faculty. And these are the things that I feel are important for Puyallup School District. Thank you very much. You can comment on our social media. You can email me at connect@electwilliamrowland.com. Thank you.